Defeating the Enderdragon, getting over 60 levels of XP, and the super rare dragon egg sounds cool. However, actually doing it can be quite difficult, but no worries because in this video I'll teach you how to defeat it easily. Also, most people who watch my videos aren't subscribed to the channel, so if you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe with notifications on so that you never miss an upload in the future. But wait, before we do all of that, what do we need to actually defeat the Enderdragon? You don't want to travel all the way to the end just to get instantly killed. Now there are multiple ways of defeating the Enderdragon, but I'm going to start off by showing you the kind of traditional method of defeating it. To do that, you want to have roughly the items I have in my inventory. Let me break this down. You're going to want a pickaxe to mine some endstone if you need to do that, an axe to hit ender dragons or maybe the enderman. You want the sword to hit the ender dragon or enderman as well. You can hit multiple endermen at once with something like this if you have to do that. You want full diamond armor, preferably enchanted. You can do enchanted iron. You can even go there with no armor at all, but of course the better armor you have, the safer you'll be. You'll want a water bucket for MLGing and also for protecting yourself from endermen. You'll want some food. Golden carrots are great because the high saturation makes you replenish your hunger a lot. You'll want a bow, preferably with power 5. If there's one thing you want enchanted, you want your bow enchanted. I would say at least 2 stacks of arrows. Less than that can be okay, but you want quite a few. As many glass bottles as you can fit, because you can get a lot of dragon's breath with that, which is kind of one of the main purposes of defeating the dragon. You want to bring some scaffolding. You don't have to. You can alternatively bring some building blocks. I would advise you not to bring dirt, because endermen can pick that up, but you can do that if you have to. But ideally scaffolding or building blocks. You can even bring both. Now once you have most of these things, and you are at the end portal here ready to go in, before you do that, make sure to right click on a bed outside the portal to actually set your spawn point there. The reason why you want to do this is that unless you're in hardcore mode, there's certainly a chance that you could die, and so basically, in case you do, you can come back and grab your items before they despawn. Alright, we're going to jump into the portal here and we are going to defeat the dragon. Now, one of the big purposes of bringing the extra building blocks is that so you can basically make a little path over from the obsidian pillar you spawn at there. After you've done that, you can mine up here, or maybe you'll spawn over here. The obsidian pillar can be in much more convenient places. Now you're at the Enderdragon fight. Some people will bring a carved pumpkin to put on their heads. You can totally do this if you want. That'll make it so that the endermen will not get mad at you if you look at them. The problem with this though is that the loss in visibility isn't generally worth it. Alright, so there are 10 of these towers, and you have to destroy the end crystals on every single one. 2 of them have the cages on them. This one happens to have them next to each other, but it's basically random which one it is. Now what you want to do is you want to basically hit these with a bow or any other projectile and get them to explode, as these end crystals will heal the Enderdragon. Some of them are really easy to hit, just like this one here. Those should be pretty easy to get rid of, and maybe some of the ones like this too. Better just to kind of hit them down as much as you can. But if you can't, what you can do is you can use your scaffolding to tower up to the top. Now the big use of towering up is of course on the caged end crystals here. What I would suggest is either towering up with scaffolding or with the cobblestone here. Beware of dragon's breath that the dragon throws at you. If you see it, make sure to bottle it up just like this. There's actually multiple uses to bottling it up. Not only do you get the dragon's breath item, but the dragon's breath actually stops being there, so it's then safe to be in that area, as it does hurt you if you're there. So now you can go up the obsidian tower here on your scaffolding or with some cobblestone, but be aware the Enderdragon can destroy the scaffolding when you're on it. Then you want to destroy this, so kind of break a little bit of stuff there, try and shoot it off. Be aware of falling down like that. You can see I almost died there. What you can do to prevent this is if you place down a water bucket at the bottom of your tower here. If you end up falling down and almost dying, you can try and land in the water there. That's a really good safeguard to not die instantly when trying to destroy these towers. Once you're up here, simply hit the end crystal like this, then go back down the tower here. You can even drop down it just like this, which can be safer because the less amount of time you're up there the better, as the Enderdragon will sometimes try and come towards you and hit you off. And basically proceed to shoot these down or go up there and grab them for every other tower there is. Alright, now here's an interesting situation. I just looked at an enderman by accident. What do you do to not have them kill you? Place down a water bucket, stand where the water bucket was placed down. You now have a safe radius. If you stay in the middle here, this enderman cannot get to you. Now be aware of dragon's breath, because once it throws that down, you will start to get hurt. So you want to keep running with this, and then you can place this down. If you do have the glass bottles with you, of course you can use those to get rid of it. And funny enough, the Enderman can actually be a lot more dangerous than the Enderdragon itself, but using this water trick here can be a great way to avoid damage from that. Alright, we only have one more tower left to destroy. If you actually can destroy the crystal in the tower as the Enderdragon is attached to it, that'll make there be extra damage to the Enderdragon. And actually hitting these, the strategy is to basically do one shot and to kind of slightly adjust where you're facing based on where it hit. Now that we've destroyed all these, we're now in the second phase of the Enderdragon fight. Again, if you have glass bottles, make sure to pick up as much of the Dragon's Breath as you possibly can, as this is incredibly useful for making tipped arrows and other things like that. And in this second stage of the fight, you simply want to wait till the Enderdragon lands here, or shoot at it with your bow, and take down its health as you normally would. But there's some interesting things around this. If I turn on hitboxes here, you can see that the Enderdragon has these green hitboxes on it. At the very front of it, there are hitboxes for its head, and if we can actually hit it right in its head, there is way more damage that is applied to the Enderdragon when you hit it on its head's hitbox, just like that. Additionally, with hitboxes on, you can actually see exactly where the particles here are for the Dragon's Breath, so that's a really great way of avoiding that as well. Now the Enderdragon comes down, you can see where its head is, and you can hit it right there. This gives you a really cool advantage to basically able to hit that, but again be aware if it has a Dragon's Breath, you can actually slowly shrink that. You can literally see with the hitbox there. And the reason why hitting the Enderdragon in the head gives it more damage, the idea would be there's less protection for the dragon where its head is, whereas the rest of its body would have thick scales. Again, if you can hit the Enderdragon in its head, you're going to be a lot better off here. Just be aware when the Enderdragon flies away, it can often hit you very badly. And we can try and hit the Enderdragon here. Again, it'll try and place down its Dragon's Breath. Try and shrink that down as much as you can, and then hit the dragon right here on this little box here. This will certainly make it have the most damage. You can see how hurt it is there. Also, when the Enderdragon's flying away, this can be another great chance to hit it, as it generally is somewhat close. And as the dragon lands down here for the last time, we can try and hit it in its head here, and we can probably finish it off rather simply. Just again, be very aware of the Dragon's Breath. Also, you cannot hit the Enderdragon with a bow. When you try to, it'll literally make the arrow go off, and we have now defeated the Enderdragon. And you can see here that we've gotten the achievement Free the End. The Enderdragon dies, it goes up into the world, you can see its face there slowly zooming out, and here's all the experience. Now when we defeat the Enderdragon, not only do we get an insane amount of experience, but we also have the Enderdragon egg that goes on top of the pedestal here, right there. To grab this, all you have to do is grab one of these torches off the side here, which is sometimes kind of difficult, but if you kind of go like this, it should be pretty easy. So grab one of the torches here, click on this that it disappears, it'll teleport around, it'll teleport right here, or it'll teleport kind of around the portal somewhere, break under it just like this, place down the torch, break this here, the egg will drop down like that. Now we have the egg, we have the achievement The Next Generation, and we can place this wherever we want. This is actually the rarest item in the entire game, because there's only one of these in every single Minecraft world. And one of the other things we get from defeating the Enderdragon is it opens up a portal to the Outer End Islands, which can give us access to things like Elytra and shulker boxes, and very awesome late game items like that. You can see one of the portals right there. I may go into how to raid the Outer Islands and use this in a separate video, but for now you can unlock one of those. And every time you resummon the Enderdragon and kill it again, you get one of these portals, so you can get up to 20 around the entire End Island here, which can actually be a very useful resource because these teleport very large distances to the very edge of the Outer Islands there, so you can save a lot of travel time that way. Now End Crystals are an awesome item. You can use them to respawn the Enderdragon by placing one on each corner of the End portal just like this, but if you want to learn more about these, I have a link on the screen right now, all about End Crystals. Feel free to check that out. They're really overpowered and they're quite a cool item. And when we place these 4 End Crystals down, you can see we have these kind of beams go up to the sky, and these will face to every single one of the towers. Put in one of the crystals, and then they'll start facing towards the sky. They'll go all the way around a circle just like that. The only problem with this is that when it gets to these ones with the cage, they will actually regenerate the cage as well. So you'll have to fully do the entire Enderdragon fight again. And we'll go all the way around the circle here to the last one. They'll all face upwards and they will summon in the Enderdragon. You can actually destroy these at any stage of the process. We also got blown up there by those End Crystals, so be aware of that. But more or less what will happen is you can also destroy those with, let's say, a bow and arrow from far away. And when you do that, then that will stop the process of resummoning. Now we have respawned at the end portal here, which is a good thing. Before we go in here though, we want to get ourselves some different items, because I'm now going to show you the other main way of defeating the Enderdragon. Dragon. This one is very fun and it's utilized by speedrunners a lot, but it's a bit difficult to master. It is killing the Ender Dragon with beds. Now a couple of the differences of this is that we don't actually bother destroying the outer end crystals. In fact, we can literally throw away all the items we grab that have to do with going up the end crystals like that. In fact, we can even throw away our bow and arrows. We don't even have to bring a water bucket, but you may as well bring that with you if you want. You also don't need an axe or a sword, but again, it's probably best to bring that with you. However, what you do need is this. You need a bed, but you actually need a lot of beds. Now the point of this bed method is because it's very quick. However, if you do not do it correctly, then you'll have to take a bit longer to kill the Ender Dragon. So if I were you, I would bring as many beds as I possibly could. Now we're going to go back into the end here, and we're going to defeat the Ender Dragon again with these beds. Actually, the only difference between the old Ender Dragon and the new Ender Dragon is that the old one lays an egg, and the new one does not lay an egg, and it also has not a lot of XP when we kill it, compared to when we kill it the first time. Alright, you want to grab yourself some end stone and go up to the end portal right over here. Of course, if you resummoned it, you can get rid of the fire here, but generally you'd be doing this the first time. Place down some end stone here and get to the very edge of this, and then place down a bed like this. And you basically want to wait right here. Now the idea of this is that when you try and sleep in the end, the bed will explode. We can show that off right here. So you can see that exploded, and there is some fire around me and a lot of damage. Now the idea is that when we hit the Ender Dragon on its head, there's way more damage that's applied to it. So you want to try and destroy this bed when it's closest to the Ender Dragon's head. Now be aware of things like Dragon's Breath, that can be quite an issue. In fact, I would actually suggest to avoid the fire and the Dragon's Breath and all this kind of stuff when you're trying to do this process, is to not be near the portal frame when you're waiting for the dragon to land. So kind of just be a little bit further away, so it can shoot the Ender Dragon's Breath just like that at you. It'll kind of land there, and you can just kind of wait for it to stay there and eventually go away. You could bring some bottles with you, but then you're for sure going to be able to go back to the main portal frame when the Ender Dragon comes in. Now when you look at the Ender Dragon, you'll know when it's going to come into the portal frame because it'll kind of change its movements. For now it's moving kind of normally, but when it decides to go to the middle of the end, you'll see it kind of shift its movements. It'll kind of jerk around very quickly. It'll return to the middle end fountain made out of bedrock. Also, it is more prone to do this when the end crystals are destroyed, so you could always do that if you wanted to, but the idea of this is to do it very quickly. This is generally the strategy used by speedrunners, as you can do it incredibly quickly if the odds are with you. So basically when the Ender Dragon comes in, we want to get close here and start placing down beds. We want to destroy the bed as soon as the Ender Dragon's head is closest to us, but not when it lands. So you do not want to just wait here till the Ender Dragon lands, then go up to here and destroy these, because you cannot actually place these if the Ender Dragon has fully landed down. So it's really important to be careful about that. Alright, so the Ender Dragon is coming in to land. We want to go right here and wait till its head is nearest to us, something like this. Place down a bed, kind of get into a good rhythm like this. Make sure to place it when the head is closest, just like that, and continue to do this. And if you get into the right rhythm of it, you can kill the Ender Dragon with actually only about, I think, 4 or 5 beds. Make sure to place down more beds as quickly as possible. Now, I'm not going to be successful at this. In fact, I've landed all the way up here. But the idea behind this is still the same. Basically, we want to get this one little hitbox of the Ender Dragon right there, that teeny little green hitbox you see there. That's its head's hitbox. If we can hit it right there, it'll be the most damage possible. So we want to jump up, place down a bed, jump up, place down a bed. Make sure to explode it kind of when we're down here. So place the bed, be down here, then explode it. If we go like this and kind of jump as we explode it, then we'll get hurt as well. And you can kind of continue to do this at the right timing to kill the Ender Dragon fully. And if you can do this quick enough, and you get it at the right timing, then you can actually kill it fully just using beds. Because the closer the Ender Dragon's head is to the bed, the faster you'll be able to kill it. An odd way you can kill the Ender Dragon is to build a flying machine the second you get into the end, and then have that flying machine go this way, kind of away from the main island. After going for about 1,000 blocks, you will end up at the outer end islands. You can then loot an end city, get an Elytra. Of course, you'd bring some fireworks with you originally, and then you can basically fly back here and kill the Ender Dragon. And of course, with the Elytra, it's a lot easier to get rid of these crystals. Just be aware, if you're flying with Elytra and you hit the Ender Dragon, it will literally instantly kill you. So I wouldn't really suggest the Elytra Ender Dragon kill method, but it is kind of a unique one if you want to kill the Ender Dragon in a way you never have before. Just be aware you still can't leave the end until the Ender Dragon is killed, so you're going to have to do that if you want to bring your Elytra out safely. Anyway, if you're successful, that will be the end of the Ender Dragon in the end and the end of this video. Goodbye.